she's an amazing champion and she's super well-rounded for sure. But Juliana Pena just showed everyone that everyone's beatable, and a lot of people say that about division champions. Jose Aldo and Anderson Silva. Like, you look back at all these unbeatable champions, and one day they're dethroned. It just takes the right person on the right night to beat them, and I truly believe that I'm really working my way to being that. And, she can't hold on to that belt forever. So I'm glad she's keeping it warm, and I'm going to be the next era for sure.
Yo, what's going on, y'all? It's Combo Breaker 99. I'm back with another video. All right, y'all. Y'all heard it. We got another young fighter that, says she eventually has the bullet in her sights. Eventually, one day, whenever she gets the work in and she improves as a fighter, she has the bullet in her sights. But before I talk about Casey O'Neill and her response here real quick, this is just a real quick video, just giving my thoughts. I think we have to start putting the spotlight on these interviewers that ask the question. I mean, when it all comes down to it, it's like the interviewers, they really should not be asking these number 15 and unranked fighters anything about the champion. Maybe you could just ask, like, what do you think about her as a champion? But we don't really have to try to match them up yet. They're not in that realm yet. There's still a long way to go in between there. There's all the way from number 15 to champion. You know what I mean? So that's like 14 different fighters in between there. So that's still a long way off. You have to start talking about the fighters that are around them. The fighters that could eventually maybe upset their hype train. You know what I mean? So when the interviewers ask these questions, I think the fighters maybe just have to do a better job of just saying, okay, Valentina, I respect her. I'll get there one day. But I don't really think they have to egg it on and say, oh, I'm going to derail the hype train, or, oh, yeah, I'm going to beat this fighter one day because she's not perfect. Now, I'm glad that a fighter like Casey O'Neill, she is acknowledging that this is one of the best champions of all time. And the fact that Valentina is not perfect, but you also have to understand the reason she's so dominant, and I think that's something that Casey O'Neill is, taking notes on. So you got to take notes on that, because the reason Valentina looks so invincible is because she works hard. She makes it look easy by working hard, right? And that's something that a lot of these young fighters don't translate. They just see a fighter in there going through the motions and they think, oh, I can do that. That's how it was with Floyd Mayweather. Like, you seen fighters out there try to mimic the shoulder roll of Floyd, the way he perfected that. They don't know the drills and, the hard work that he put in to get that style mastered down to a science, right? To his science. So they see him do it a few times and they be like, oh, I can do that. I can just flick my shoulder out this way, this way and that, block a few punches, and they wind up getting beat down. The minute they try this, the minute they try this style, and it's not even their style. You know what I mean? So somebody like Valentina Shevchenko is kind of in that same boat. A lot of people see her going through the motions, making it look easy, the way she beats Andrade or Murphy or Chikagan, and they think, oh, I can do that. They think, oh, yeah, I can do that. The way she's moving around, I can expose that. But no, like, once you get in there, it's a totally different story. It's a totally different story. So for Casey O'Neill, I know she thinks that, okay, this energy that Juliana Pena brought to the WMMA world can carry over. But for Juliana Pena, man, it was a long road for her too. You know what I mean? It was a long road for her. She was able to do it to Amanda Nunes just because, there's a lot going on behind the scenes of this. She's been studying her. She's been working. She's been grinding. She's been climbing the ladder. And it all comes down to timing, too, I think, for Juliana Pena, how she caught Nunes. You know what I mean? So when you look at it in that aspect, I can understand where she's coming from, but it's still a different thing for these young fighters and how they approach it. Juliana Pena is more of a veteran than these young ladies. These young ladies, they still got a lot of work to do. They still got to get a couple of L's, possibly a couple of L's on their resume, or a couple of close fights where they got to open their eyes and get humbled a little bit. So for Casey O'Neill, I think she understands that, but it takes a lot to dethrone these dominant champions, and that's what you have to understand. Like, they were dominant for a reason. Now, I know and understand that, yeah, they can be beat, but to do it, it takes a special person to do it. It takes somebody that can bring those 3 Ds I always talk about that Valentina has. You got to counter her Ds, that dominance, discipline, and defense. Dominance, discipline, and defense. You have to have all 3 of those Ds. If you don't have those, or at least a good solid 2 of them, then you're not going to get to the point where she is, you know? And I think only a few handful of fighters have really shown that as of lately throughout the whole world of WMMA. You know, so for Casey O'Neill, like I said, I'm not really here to just kind of rag on her for saying that she'll eventually beat Valentina one day. You know, I'm not here to rag on that because her choice of words made sense. You know, she didn't call her a hype train. You know, she just said, hey, Valentina's keeping the belt warm for her till she eventually gets there. And those are the key words that she used. You know, she said that she's going to work her way up there. She's going to work her way up there. So I understand that. But there's still another side to it. There's still another side where they have to understand that what Juliana Pena did, you know, that took a lot of hard work and commitment. That took a lot of hard work, took a few L's, took a lot of experience for her to get there, and a lot of, you know, just hard work from behind the scenes to fight for that title shot, you know. Whereas, you know, somebody like Casey O'Neill, with the way they're pushing her, she has to be careful about that because, you know, they are hyping her up. They're hyping her up. She was considered #1 rookie from the UFC. So sometimes that can kind of give you a false sense of confidence. You can't buy into that. You know, you can't buy into all of what everybody else is doing. You got to work on your own. So hopefully, you know, she's still saying, okay, let me take the time to study Valentina and what she can do, what I could expose, or what I can expose in these other fighters around me. Because you still got the task in front of you, you know, a tough task. And Roxanne Modafferi, you know, who's a tough veteran. You know, I know Roxanne Modafferi is on her way out the door. This is her last fight, but still, this could be the fight that upsets her. You know, this could be the fight that derails her hype train, you know? So there's that side to it where Casey O'Neill has to say, okay, I got to ignore what everybody else is saying. Let me go ahead and put the work in like I was Valentina. You know, let me step in Valentina's shoes, somebody who ignores the media and what everybody else is saying. You know, even when the interviewers ask me the questions about other fighters, right? Just say, hey, next question. That's not on my mind right now. Right now, I'm worried about the fighters around me. Like, if I beat Roxanne Modafferi, I want to fight the Manon Jessica I winner, you know what I mean? Or eventually I want to fight Alexa Grasso, Andrea Lee, you know, and Aaron Blanchfield. You call me out, let me knock you down this ladder even further. You're not even ranked, but let me knock you down further, right? So that's the kind of talk I really want to hear about these fighters, you know, on the lower level. You know, just staying in their realm, you know, because that's what I said earlier too. You know, you have to get to high school, you have to graduate from junior high first, and to get to your major, you know, in the biggest university, whatever university you're looking for, you got to do well in high school first. You know, you got to maintain a certain GPA. You got to pass the SATs with a certain score, right? So before you can get to that university that you want to go to, you got to do all that stuff in high school first, right? You can't just be in junior high and say, okay, I want to be this, I want to be that, and that's it. No, you got to know the hard work that comes with it, right? And that's something I just got to address to all these young people today too. You know, even not just fighters. You know, a lot of people think that it's easy to do what some of these other, you know, people that are successful have done. You know, so there's a lot of hard work behind it. You know, there's a lot of sacrifice as well. So you got to be prepared for that. But yeah, I think that Casey O'Neill, you know, she has a lot of hard work. You know, I've already talked about on my channel. Like I said, I don't, I'm not a fighter that dislikes her. You know, I'm not a person that dislikes her. You know, I do like her style. I'm a fan of the level that she's on. But, you know, whenever they ask her about Valentina and put her in that same realm to even ask if she'll be there eventually one day to challenge her, I don't know. You know, I'm still, you know, thinking about it myself. You know, the question's still out there. You know, I just see more development in Aaron and Manon. But, you know, I think with Casey O'Neill's attitude, you know, the way she's thinking about it, I think that she could get there if she understands the hard work, the way she addressed it, you know? So, yeah, that's just my thoughts. Like I said, final thoughts real quick. I think that a lot of these young fighters, they just got to ignore that question, and they just got to, you know, graduate from the classes they have now that are around them, that are in their realm. And then once they get there, you know, the way time flies by, you'll be like, oh, man, I'm number 7, number 8. Oh, man, now I'm getting close to that realm. Time to call out Maya or Murphy. Then if you beat that person, you'll be like, oh, snap, time for that title shot, right? Then you talk your trash about the champion. But once you start talking trash when you unranked the number 15, there's always going to be somebody that's going to derail you because your mind is focused on the wrong thing. You need to be focused on the people around you. That's why another video coming. Manon Fiorot, you know, she's in her own category right now from around these other prospects. I'm just being real, y'all. So yeah, we'll talk more about it later. My next podcast episode, we're gonna just talk about these young fighters, always jumping ahead. But like I said, Casey, she didn't really take it the same way as far as calling Valentina hype train. She does know that she's an amazing champion. She just kind of sees it as, okay, that fighters can be beat. They can be beat, or champions can be beat. But they got to understand, to beat those champions, you need those 3 Ds I've been talking about. So yeah, we'll talk more later. Combo Breaker 99. I'm out. Subscribe. Peace.